Hello, and thank you so much for joining the Champaign County Regional Planning Commission's Community Services Block Grant Scholarship Overview. This short training video is designed to support you in preparing to apply for the Community Services Block Grant Scholarship. It will walk you through learning all about the scholarship, understanding what would make you eligible, what sort of documentation you need to prepare, how you'll be evaluated, and what the next steps are. All application materials are due April 30th, 2026 at 4:30 p.m. Central Time, so let's dive in. So what is the CSBG scholarship? It's a competitive scholarship of up to $5,000 for income-eligible students that are enrolled in post-secondary educational programs in the fall of 2026. This includes accredited colleges and universities, accredited vocational or technical schools, and trade schools. Students can be full-time or part-time and attend in-state or out-of-state, remote, hybrid, or on the ground. There are a few things that will help applicants stand out, and that includes community involvement, having a high GPA, and a strong essay. Block grant scholarship funds can only be used for certain activities. This includes tuition, mandatory and program-specific fees, and program-specific supplies related to course study. Funds are paid directly to the designated institution on behalf of the applicant, and the funds must be used by December 31st, 2026. It's important to note that funds cannot be used for personal expenses. So who is eligible to apply for this great scholarship? Individuals who are permanent residents of Champaign County are eligible if their family is at or below 200% of the program year 2026 federal poverty guidelines, which include income for all related household members living together. We'll talk a little bit more about what those guidelines are in a minute. They also have to be enrolled in a post-secondary educational program in the fall of 2026, but have not already completed a bachelor's degree. As noted before, even though those are the minimum eligibilities criteria, what will help an applicant stand out and receive a higher score is going to be them noting community involvement, as well as having proven performance capabilities related to past grade reports, work records, and letters of recommendation. It's very important that all folks who apply ensure that they meet the income eligibility standards. Again, the eligibility is based off 200% of the federal poverty guidelines. The size of the family unit, based on the table to the right, is going to be based on all individuals that are related to you that live in your household. And the numbers on the right-hand side of the table include the total family gross income, which includes income from all related household members aged 18 years and older, and that income must be at or below 200% of the PY 2026 federal poverty guidelines. If your family has more than 8 persons in this family unit, what you would do is add $11,360 for each additional family member to those numbers. These guidelines are issued by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and it can be found on page 2 of the scholarship application. One thing that's important to know is that gross income means before taxes or deductions. So what income documentation does someone applying need to provide? Well, if you are a self-supporting applicant, please provide a copy of your 2025 federal income tax return with the application. If you are a dependent, provide a copy of your parent or guardian's 2025 federal income or tax return. If you are not required to file federal taxes, please attach a letter explaining why you are not required and documentation such as a GI Bill, SSI annual statement, or other proof of income. Regardless of which category you fall into, you will also add the income eligibility affidavit, which is found on page 9 of the application, proof of income for all related household members aged 18 and older for the past 30 days, a copy of all other related adult household members' federal tax returns. If you haven't yet filed your 2025 taxes yet, please submit the 2024 federal tax returns instead. So whose proof of income do applicants need to provide, and how do they know who is a part of their family household? What they're going to do is provide proof of income for all household members related to you that are aged 18 and older. So if your auntie lives in your house with you and is over the age of 18, you would include their income. And those would be folks who are related to you and live with you. So if you have a friend that lives with you who's over the age of 18 that is not family and not related to you, you wouldn't include their income. So what is counted as income? Well, there's lots of different categories, and I'm only going to read a few of these, as I know you'll be able to read the rest on the slide, but you'll of course want to include any wages and salaries, self-employment net receipts, payments from Social Security, unemployment, strike benefits, veterans payments, public assistance such as temporary assistance for needy families, supplemental security income, and non-federally funded general assistance or general relief money payments, alimony, child support and military family allotments, and private or government employee pensions. Students do not need to include scholarships or other student financial aid within their income. So how do you calculate gross income using proof of income? I'm going to provide one example showing proof of income, and then we'll show a couple of examples using a federal tax return. And after I show these examples, I'll walk you through a calculator that you can use to further support your understanding of meeting your gross income eligibility. In this example, we have a group of 3 siblings that are aged 18 and older who all live together. On the left-hand side, you'll see the various categories, and on the top, you'll see sibling 1, 2, and 3. Sibling 1 is enrolled in school for fall of 2026 and is currently employed, and that means that they are going to need to provide documentation via pay stubs covering the previous 30 days to show how much money they make and whether or not their income is below the threshold when added with the other related household members. So let's take a look at a pay stub. There's a couple things that they're going to want to look for. First is that their pay stub date is within the past 30 days of the time of their application. And second, they'll want to make sure that they're pulling their gross income, which means before deductions and before taxes. In this case, that would be $196.81 for their first pay stub. And then for their week 2 or their second paycheck of the month, you'll see that they're also doing the same thing, making sure their pay stub date is within the past 30 days and that they're pulling the gross income, the $104.69. Those 2 pay stubs would be added together to get the $301.50 and then times that by 12 to get the annual income of $3,618 for sibling 1. Sibling 2 receives Social Security, and so what they'll need to provide is a Social Security income benefit letter. That benefit letter would look something like this, and we would be looking for a letter that's from the appropriate year, in this case 2026. You can see the sample letters from 2025, and then provide the monthly payment amount, and in this case it's $562.80. If you times that by 12, you'll get the annual amount of $6,753.60. Sibling 3 has no income, and so their documentation is going to be a no income affidavit. The no income affidavit looks like this. There is a link for this also within your application packet, and you would fill it out noting that you attest that the household members below have no income within the past 30 days. You'd list their name on there, so you can see sibling 1 is listing sibling 3, and then they'd be assigning it and putting their date on there. In this case, to get their annual income for the whole sibling group, you would see that their total family size is 3, and altogether they have $10,371.60 in annual income. Because that is below the threshold of $54,640, which is the 200% of the federal poverty guidelines based on family unit size, this applicant would be income eligible to apply for the CSBG scholarship. provide an example where you are calculating income based off of gross income from the annual tax return. In this case, I'm showing you a form, a 1040 U.S. individual income tax return. And in this tax return represents 2 adults as well as 3 children. And one of the children is a student who is applying for this scholarship. It's a household of 5, and they have no other members of the household that are not on the tax return. So they're going to look lower down on their 1040, and on box 11A, which is highlighted in the red box that just got added, they're going to see their total gross income, which is $52,123 for the year. Based on having a family unit size of 5, they are under the 200% of federal poverty guidelines, which is $77,360. And again, this applicant would be income eligible for the CSBG scholarship. I want to provide a second example where we all have the same situation of 2 adults and 3 children, a household of 5, no other members, but in this case they have a higher income, $80,789. So we're going to again take a look at those poverty guidelines. We can see that it's $77,360. This person would not be income eligible for the scholarship because their household income is over the $77,000. If your household includes more than 1 adult household member related to you that aren't listed on the tax return that you're turning in initially, you would turn in the federal tax returns for all other adults in the household that are related to you. You're going to add their adjusted gross income to the AGI on the tax return that you're providing to be able to get the total gross income for your family household to understand if you're under or at the 200% of the federal poverty guidelines. Help! This can seem really difficult, especially if you have a complicated income situation or a large family, and so we have provided some calculators to support you. These are some simple Google spreadsheets and Excel workbooks for you to use to input the various numbers from your pay stubs, your tax returns, as well as other income sources to help you understand if you might be income eligible for the scholarship. In this case, for the Google Sheet, you would click the link below and it's going to make a copy of the sheet in your own Google account, so you will want to make sure you're signed in, or you can choose to use the Excel workbook. You will want to be signed into your Microsoft account so that you can open up the Excel file and create a copy so that you can edit it and add in your own content. In both sheets, the only places you're going to edit are going to be the yellow boxes, and there are instructions at the very top to support you in filling out this workbook. I'll walk you through how to use the Google Sheet and Excel workbook income calculators to ensure that you're income eligible for the Community Services Block Grant Scholarship. First, what I did is copied the link for the Google Docs spreadsheet and put that in my browser after being signed into my Google account, and I'm going to hit enter. And that is going to ask if you want to make a copy of this, and the answer is yes, because we're not having you actually edit the template itself. So go ahead and make a copy, and it's going to add this into your own Google account. And then you want to just simply follow the instructions. So it says number 1 is to fill out all the relevant income information in cells highlighted in yellow in both the federal tax return section and the income calculation section. Anything that's not relevant, leave it blank or put $0. Then you want to make sure that you're including the documentation for all individuals related to you that are aged 18 and older and live at your address. Then you'll put in your family size into cell B28, which I'll show you, and then I'm going to show you down in cell D29, where if it says yes, then you're most likely income eligible. So we're going to use the same examples that we've used in our previous slides. And so the first one, we're going to start with just an income. And so first, I'm going to go into this family household member 1 name, and I'm going to write sibling 1. And this sibling 1, if you remember right, they had 2 different pay stubs to calculate for their 30 days. And so I'm going to go in pay stub 1 and I'm going to put 196.81 because that was the gross income amount. And then for the next one, I'm going to put the 104.69, which was the gross income amount for the 2 pay stubs. Then I'm going to scroll through and look, they don't have any of these other incomes, so it took the monthly total of $301.50 and turned it into an annual of $3,618. Then let's go ahead and do household family member number 2, which was sibling 2. You could put the names here instead. This sibling received a Social Security income, supplemental security income, and so we're going to put in their monthly payment. And so we'll put that under Social Security, and we're going to put $562.80, which is the monthly amount that they get gross, and that turns that into $6,753. Then I'm going to come over here into household family member number 3 and put sibling 3. This person received $0, and so I'm just going to put $0 in this cell and leave everything else blank, and you're going to see 0, 0. There are no other members of this household that are aged 18 and older that are related to the sibling 1 who's applying, so we'll leave all the other spaces blank. But if you had more individuals who are aged 18 and older, you would want to make sure you went through and filled out all the way across. And then you would also add the tax return information. In this example, we don't have a tax return, but for all of the various individuals who are aged 18 and older, you want them to be accounted for here. So down here, we're going to see that the total family income, so we haven't put in the size of the family unit. So let me back up. This family unit is 3, so that's the B28. So now that we put in the size of the family unit is 3, and it's calculated the income based off of all of what you've put in. Then in cell D29 right here, you can see that it says yes, which means that this individual would be income eligible to apply. So you would save this. You can save it as an Excel or as a PDF, and then you would turn this in with your income documentation to Alicia just to show us how you got to your calculation. So I've shown you how you can use the Google Sheet calculator using your Google account, but if you prefer Microsoft and Excel, then you can sign into your Microsoft account, then go into your browser and go ahead and paste the link for the Excel sheet that was in your PowerPoint. And in there, you're going to open up something that looks very similar to the Google Sheet that we just looked at, but it opens in view-only mode. You can't make any changes here. That's because we don't want you affecting that template and for people to see your personal information. So the first thing you'll want to do is go under the File section and create a copy. You can either download a copy or open it in your own online account, whichever one you prefer. In this case, I'm going to download a copy, and I'm going to rename it to have my information in there. So I'm going to pretend like my name is Sally Joe. So S Joe is what I put there, and I'm going to hit save. Once I do that, it downloads, and I'm going to open this in Excel. You would either need to have the Excel application or to be able to open this online in the Excel free version that's online in your account. The instructions look very similar. You're going to follow them of filling out all the relevant income information highlighted in yellow in this federal tax return calculation section, as well as the income calculation section for the past 30 days, and include all family members that live with you that are aged 18 and older. Then you'll add in your family size, and then you'll find out whether you're income eligible or not. So let's use the example that we had in our PowerPoint earlier on for the tax returns. So we had a family that made $52,123 according to line 11A of their tax return. And I did not show you income for them, so we're just going to make it up. So there's S. Joe, there's family member number 1, but then we're going to say that they also have a family member that's 18 and older named Billy, and they have another one named Jane. So all of those family members will get listed. Sally Joe is the one who's applying. She's going to put in her income amount. So let's say that she makes $500 in one of her pay stubs and $250 in the other for the past 30 days and has no other forms of income. Then she has a family member who gets $560 worth of Social Security a month. That's Billy. And then she also has a family member who receives child support, and that is $250 a month. So those are the three sources of income. If there were other income within the past 30 days for Sally, Billy, or Jane, they would want to list it there. Then when we go down here, we need to put the size of the family unit. There were 5 members in this family, so we put that there. And it's adding up the total income based on the federal tax return section here, and then also adding based on income here. And as long as one of those is under the amount that's the 200% of the poverty guidelines, then column D29 is going to say yes. If it is not, then you are most likely not income eligible. In this case, this might give us a small yellow flag because you can see how different the family income is based off of the past 30 days and the tax return. So we may have some additional questions for you, but we would recommend that you go ahead and apply because you would be considered income eligible based off of this. Once you finish, you can make sure that you save. So I'm going to go up and hit the save button, but you can also go to File, Save Here. And then you would attach this with your application. So that's how you use the Excel workbook. In addition to showing income eligibility, you are going to write an essay that will help us be able to get to know you better and will be evaluated as a part of understanding your score for determining who will receive or be awarded the scholarship. You will only have to choose one of the 4 different prompts you're seeing on the screen, and you'll write a 250 to 500 word essay to support your application. These could include things like speaking to your future and educational goals, how you've met a need or a challenge in your community, and how your future career and education would support that, a time that you've helped others or participated in community service, and also what might motivate you to give back to your community. So once you've got your whole application turned in, what we are going to be looking for is applicants whose residency and household income meet CSBG eligibility guidelines and that turn in everything on time are going to be evaluated by the Scholarship Committee of the Community Action Board based on the following criteria. We'll be looking at your most recent grade point average, your essay demonstrating complete and thorough description for the chosen essay topic, identified community involvement, proof of enrollment in school, and confirmation that you watched this RPC CSBG scholarships overview and application training. Applicants with the top scores will be awarded scholarships. So if you apply, when will you know if you won? No later than end of August 2026, and award recipients are going to be notified by phone or email. The requirements for those who win are that they send their grades from the fall of 2026 semester upon completion of classes. They may be asked to complete an interview with a member of the RPC team for reporting and future advertisement. Optionally, all those who win will be offered the opportunity to participate in financial literacy education and coaching. If after hearing all this, you're ready to apply, here are your next steps. You'll complete pages 1 through 9 of the application, as well as page 10 if you need the no income affidavit. You'll attach your email, that application, your essay, your income documentation, your proof of enrollment, and at least one personal or academic letter of recommendation from an unrelated individual, as well as a copy of your high school and or post-secondary school transcripts. Then, before you hit send, request a trusted adult to review your application for completeness. There's a handy checklist on page 1 to help facilitate that. Turn in all your items by April 30th at 4:30 p.m. Central. Now you just have to proceed with diligence. Incomplete applications will not be reviewed, so we do really highly suggest asking a trusted adult or friend to review your eligibility and application. Turn everything in so you can be considered. We want to see you shine. If you still have questions, you can contact the Community Services Block Grant Scholarship Program Coordinator, Alicia Weber, at aweber@ccrpc.org, or you can give her a call at 217-328-3313, extension 123. Thank you so much. Don't forget to mark that you reviewed this video on page 1 of your application, and good luck.